Hi, this is Rudy Jones of HamiltonStateBaseball.com. Welcome to the South Carolina College Baseball Recap for Thursday, March the 12th. There was only one game involving state teams played on Thursday, and it was a big one. Matchup of number 4 Georgia Tech and number 11 Clemson. Those are the rankings I have in the D1Baseball.com rankings. Played over at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. It was the ACC opener for the Tigers, and it was not very memorable for them. Georgia Tech beat the Tigers 10-0 in 7 innings, a run rule win. Handed Clemson his second straight loss, of course, dropped into 0-1 in the ACC. Tigers are 15-3 overall. Tech is 16-2 and 3-1 in the ACC. Things went okay for Clemson at the start. Starter Aiden Kanak struck out 5 over the first 2 innings, but in the third inning he gave up a pair of 2-run homers. Tech struck for 4 more runs against him in the fifth. Drove him from the game. He struck out 9, but still he gave up 8 runs in the game, 6 earned, and went on to win by a score of 10-0. Drew Burris had a pair of home runs for the Yellow Jackets. Tech had 12 hits. Clemson had 2. Vaughn Lackey also homered for Tech, while Lackey and Cameron Kearse had 3 hits apiece for Tech. Clemson only had 2 hits. They had a third-inning single by Jaron Purify and a single by Jay Dillard in the 7th. Tate McKee went the first 6 innings for Tech, and again, they won the opener of that series 10-0 at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Game 2 is on Friday at 8 o'clock. It's supposed to be on the ACC network. You can tune in there. Tigers try to get set up, try to even up the series. Anyway, how about the schedule for Friday? Conference play begins for both South Carolina and Coastal Carolina as part of the action. South Carolina goes down to Florida to play the Gators. First pitch is at 6:30 in Gainesville, while Coastal Carolina opens its Sunbelt Conference play at Appalachian State at 6 o'clock. The Chanticleers coming off a pretty good stretch. They won 2 of 3 over East Carolina last weekend in a really exciting series. And they beat Wake Forest with a late rally on Tuesday night. Final score was 10-4 in that game. What about the schedule for Friday in the state? We'll see what's going on here. First game on the schedule is Voorhees is at Talladega for a doubleheader starting at 1 o'clock. This is in chronological order. Erskine and King play a Conference Carolina series beginning at 2 o'clock Friday up in Bristol. Columbia International is at Union Commonwealth in the Appalachian Athletic Conference. First game is at 3 o'clock. Florence Darlington Tech and USC Sumter moved at their Region 10 opener from Saturday to Friday. They actually moved Sunday's single game to Friday. It's still a doubleheader on Saturday. And during this weekend, they're going to be honoring Tim Medlin and his wife, Claudia. Tim, of course, was the longtime coach of the Fire Ants. His wife, Claudia, is just going through a horrible time. Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. It's a fatal disorder, and it has really knocked her down. I know that Tim and his daughters, and of course his wife, would appreciate your prayers for them if that's something you do in your value system. But again, they're supposed to be the school is supposed to be honoring Tim for this weekend. So if you're still interested, there's a link to the GoFundMe account for the Medlins at the top of HamiltonStateBaseball.com. But again, even if you don't give, just pray for them. I know they'd appreciate it. And there'll probably be some things you can do at the game at Riley Park, Bobby Richardson Field in Sumter if you want to try to help out the family in that way if you happen to go to the game. Again, just something to consider. Back to the schedule. High Point is at USC Upstate at 3 o'clock. Southern Western is at Mount Olive at 3. Truett McConnell visits Spartanburg Methodist at 3. Belmont Abbey is at North Greenville at 3:30. The Trailblazers are coming off a midweek series sweep from Trevecca Nazarene. North Greenville has been named number 1 in the country in Division II in a couple of polls, but then promptly are knocked off by Trevecca Nazarene, which is a good program. Radford is at Winthrop at 4 o'clock. Anderson is at Lenore Ryan at 5. Flagler visits Lander at 5. Princeton is at Wofford at 5:30. Coker is at Lincoln Memorial at 6. Georgia Southwestern, which beat previous Division II number 1 Tampa 2 of 3 games last weekend, is at USC Aiken at 6 o'clock. Newberry goes up to Tusculum at 6. North Georgia is at USC Beaufort at 6. The Sand Sharks have lost 8 straight games as they go into that. Also, Southeastern Baptist is at Bob Jones at 6 o'clock at Conisty Park. Stony Brook is at College of Charleston in CAA play, 6 o'clock start. The Citadel, coming off that nice win over South Carolina midweek, is at UT Martin for a 6 o'clock game. UNC Asheville is at Presbyterian at 6 in a Big South Conference game. The Blue Hose trying to snap a 15-game losing streak dating back to the beginning of the 16 games. I'm getting old. I was out of town this week, so I've lost my memory on some things. But anyway, not to be flippant, but they've lost 16 straight, not one since opening day. Villanova is at Charleston Southern at 6. Young Harris is at Francis Marion at 6. Young and Harris, another great team. As I mentioned, South Carolina, Florida at 6:30, and Georgia Tech at Clemson at 8. You can always keep up with what's going on in Palmetto State Baseball at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. I provide updates during games under my X handle of at Palmetto Base. Have Palmetto State Baseball Group on Facebook. That's the name of it. You can become a member there and just kind of discuss college baseball. As I mentioned briefly a while ago, I did go to Citadel, South Carolina this week. It was a great game down in Charleston. Got some great seafood. And visiting Joe Riley Park is always nice. Anyway, that's the schedule for Friday. Again, the recap was Clemson losing to Georgia Tech in game 1 of their series on Thursday. I hope you'll let me know what you like and don't like about PalmettoStateBaseball.com or my coverage of college baseball in South Carolina. Appreciate you taking the time to watch this. This is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com saying good night. Jesus loves you.